Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your dredge guy, and today we are trying to create something more creative. I'll try for the first time here in our channel a Tempo-Dredge deck. We tried in the past to build a dredge deck with Tamio, Inquisitive Student, and it was a kind of so-so deck, a middle of the road. We have some Tamio moments, but it was not a Tempo deck, it was a dredge deck with Tamio. But now I'm trying to build a hybrid deck with Tamio and the fun favorites of Tempo players, Darcy, Dragon's Rage Channeler, and even Mishra's Bauble. So we have so much selection spells here. We have even 4 copies of Brainstorm, like we used to see in Blue Dredge decks in the past. But we also have Faithless Looting as a great selection spell with Flashback. So we can find one of our 7 dredgers, including Grave-Troll, the best dredger ever printed, and 3 copies of Life from the Loam, that can even get back some Wastelands. Yes, we are playing Wasteland in this channel for the very first time. And we also have several other lands. We have just 1 copy of Cephalic Coliseum and Bosejo as some tech that we can use against some specific decks in the metagame. Cephalic Coliseum can be just a great selection effect that you can have again with Life from the Loam, turn after turn. So I believe we have some potential weird and fun plays with this deck. For example, if you start with Volcanic Island, Faithless Looting, discard Grave-Troll, something that we do all the time playing Dredge, maybe in the turn 2 you can even cast a giant Murktide Regent on turn 2, so we can have the fastest Murktide Regent in Legacy. But we also have 4 copies of Daze and 4 copies of Force Fulfill to protect our Queen, and by Queen I mean Tamio. Tamio can attack, creating clues. We can crack clues to Dredge, or just to select more cards and then finding what we need. We can even win with giant Conflagrates in the face, and this is tech borrowed from Modern. I've been playing Modern a lot in the last few months, and Conflagrate is so sweet, is a great finisher in Loam decks, and this deck, I think it will maybe... I didn't play this deck yet, guys. I spent 1 hour and a half trying to get the numbers right here to just put this to the test. So maybe this is just a bad Tempo deck, maybe this is just a bad Dredge deck, but maybe we can confuse our opponents enough so we can win some matches here. I think we will have lots of fun. What else? The sideboard is something that I built. I have no idea, actually. I took some ideas borrowed from other Tempo decks, but since at the moment I don't own Surgical Extraction in my model, I decided to just use Leyline of the Void instead. But I suspect that we will never include Leyline of the Void unless we will play against Upsal spells. I don't know. I think we probably have enough tools here to win the game, because we have so many interaction in the 8 counter spells in the main deck, plus 2 Force of Negation and 3 Consign to Memory in the sideboard. Actually, I would like to include here some Pyroblasts and Hydroblasts like Tempo players do, but they are so expensive in model currently, and I don't want to spend $150 just to just to have 4 blasts in our sideboard that we might not even use it. So this will be just a first run of this deck, and I'm pretty excited to see how this hybrid deck will play. I suspect that since we are a low back with Conflagrate, but also Murktides and some different combination of cards here, we might even find some different synergies that Tempo players don't have and Dredge players also don't have. For example, if we flip Tamio and start dredging instead of just drawing cards, we can dredge 6, we can dredge 3. We will always have more lands, utility lands that can do something good, but we will also find more spells that we can bring back with Tamio with the -3. Darcy plus Mishra's Bauble together, like every Tempo player already know, can select so much, but Surveying can also put a dredger from the top in your graveyard immediately. Mishra's Bauble can even be sacrificed to draw a card, and by draw we can even dredge. So there are so many things going on here, and this is just a first test. Competitive players, please forgive me for this video, because I know that you might think, well, why Mahfuz is trying this? This is not competitive enough. Remember, several of our best dredge decks in Legacy were, at first, based on a weird idea like playing without ADD or playing with basic lands. And, well, let's try this weird idea here. Oh, and I have to mention that I have this idea here because I saw this tweet or this post on X. I'll put here on the screen somehow. And this was a sweet tweet that said that any deck can have success in Legacy if mix Force of Will, Daze, Murktide Regent, Brainstorm, Ponder, but instead of Ponder, I'm having the flexible slot here with Faithless Looting. I think this will be our better Ponder in a Dredge Tempo deck, and Wasteland. So let's see if this is also true here with our first true Tempo-Dredge deck here in our channel. Hopefully you have some fun with me. This is a crazy ride for sure. As I said before, I have zero repetition with this deck. This is just theoretical. Let's see how this deck will perform today in a Legacy League. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Come on. I spent almost 2 hours just to create this deck, and now I spent more 3 hours just to play it, and some hours to edit the video. I hope you enjoy all of this work. Let's start this craziness right now. I want to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Guys, you are awesome, and I can create content because of your continuous support. If you also want to help me as a content creator, please go there, check my Patron page, patreon.com/thedredgeguy. See you there. All right, round 1, we are paired against Smuggles. We are on the play, no lands. Let's mulligan. This is not a good hand. I will mulligan again. Okay, not great, but let's keep. I don't think we need Volcanic Island here or Flooded Strand. Actually, we have a Hedge Maze, right? So let's put Tropical and Volcanic. All right, so we start with Flooded Strand. We don't have protection here. We had a bad mulligan to 5. So this will be a Surveil land, and then luckily we will find a blue spell on top, so we can have Force of Will. Okay, my opponent also had a small, slow start, and then we just cast a Luam, grabbing some lands back. So Hedge Maze. Bolt. I don't want Bolt, I will put it into my graveyard. Draw. Okay, now we have a blue card, so I'll grab red mana here. Actually, we don't need red now, I'll grab Tropical Island. This way we'll have guaranteed green if my opponent has Wasteland. And I'll just grab some lands back with Loam. If my opponent counters that, we don't need to fight back. Okay, so we have lands this game. And next time we can start Wasteland plus Loam sequence. My opponent has Chalice on 1. Do we care? I don't think we care about that right now, so no response. Let's Dredge 3. We can always find Boseiju and destroy this Chalice. Opponent posed on my upkeep, or maybe it's just Modo having a lag. Okay, Dredge 3. So Wasteland. Let's destroy Volcanic Island and grab 2 lands back. Oh, my opponent will try to counter my Loam. No? Okay. So we know that my opponent has Force of Will. That's good to know. Let's pass a turn. Basic Island for my opponent. That's smart. And that's it. Now I think we will have a draw step. We have several lands here. Or maybe... Now let's Loam again. Alright, we have a Conflagrate there. And a Dredger. So again, Wasteland. Let's destroy my opponent's Volcanic. My opponent is not understanding what's happening. This is exactly what I wanted, just to have some fun playing something completely new. So let's change phases here since my opponent tapped for blue. Yeah, opponents definitely were not expecting a Dredge deck with Wastelands. And they saw Daze too, so not an easy task here for them. Okay, no use of mana for my opponent. Now we'll try to get this Wasteland back. And it resolved. Now it's my opponent's turn again. No lands for them, beautiful. And now I think I will Dredge Grave-Troll, right? Some turns from now we can even cast Grave-Troll. Yeah, I think this is our best choice. I'll play Flooded Strand here and pass a turn. This is so different. It's so exciting. And at any moment we might find our single Boseiju in our deck and get rid of this Chalice. Even if we don't, I still feel that we are pretty safe here. My opponent doesn't have enough mana to do much. We don't know what my opponent is playing yet, so is it deck with Chalice in the main deck, but basic Island? Not sure what this is it, but we don't have other surveillance, right? This was our single surveillance. Okay, nothing for my opponent. Let's crack Flooded Strand here. Why not? Yeah, we'll grab a Volcanic Island. I'll Dredge 6. The second Conflagrate is there. And yeah, let's keep pushing our lands here. At any moment we will have Force of Will available for us. But Temio is useless with this Chalice, so I think we'll just cast Grave-Trolls. Volcanic Island for my opponent, but no other place, and we'll have a Wasteland for that. Let's grab our second Volcanic. Now we can Dredge 3. Looting is good, not with Chalice, but that's fine. Let's destroy my opponent's land. No answers, alright. Let's grab Wasteland, Volcanic, and Fetchland from our graveyard. We can even discard one Grave-Troll due to hand size here. Opponent's turn. They have 8 cards. Let's see what they will discard now. Another Chalice. Alright. So let's dredge 6. And we found our Boseiju. So next turn we can take that. For now, let's just cast a Grave-Troll. My opponent is not expecting that. A 6/6 with Regenerate. It might be useful. My opponent passes again, discarding a Fable of the Mirror Breaker. So this is like an Is It Prison deck? Who is the prison deck now? I feel like we can. Let's grab Loam here. We can grab Boseiju and destroy Chalice, but I'm not sure if I want to do that. I feel like we can just win the game with giant Grave-Trolls. So I'll play my Wasteland, cast a second Grave-Troll. Let's see if my opponent will counter that. No, alright, it's a 7/7. We have almost lethal. Actually, we have lethal if you consider Conflagrates. My opponent found another basic island, alright. But if this is a prison deck, I don't think my opponent can do much with 2 blue mana. So let's pass the turn. And now, let's dredge. Let's attack first, because this way my opponent will not be able to cast Force of Will. They'll go down to 1 life. So let's deal 1 damage to them, just casting a Conflagrate, dealing 1 damage, discarding 1 land. And the game is over, but I'm not sure what to expect from this opponent after sideboarding. Do they have Leyline? I have absolutely no idea. Blood Moon's probably not good against the prison deck. Meltdown might be useful if my opponent has several artifacts. Not sure if Consign to Memory will be useful. My opponent is an easy deck. Maybe we don't need too much. Daisies are probably not at their best on the draw, but we need blue spells to pitch to Force of Will. So maybe Consign to Memory has some utility here. We saw Chalice. My opponent definitely have something else, maybe even the One Ring. And Consign to Memory can counter a triggered ability from a Chalice of the Void, right? So what now? So we can exchange 3 Daisies for 3 Consigns. What else? We can try 1 last Faithless Looting. My opponent has a Chalice on 1. And 1 last Lightning Bolt. Let's try like that. I'm not sure. First time playing my own deck. And the sideboard is not tuned, for sure. This is only a testing. Okay, we have answers to artifacts. We have answers to artifacts again. We have some redraws. We have even Wasteland. I think this is a keep. We don't have a Force of Will, but I think this might be good. We have Selection. Not amazingly good, but maybe good enough. City of Traitors for my opponent. Lotus Petal. Show and Tell. All right. Maybe I can put Cephalic Coliseum, and if my opponent has an Atraxa, I can consign Atraxa's trigger. Or I just put Hedge Maze. I'm not sure what my opponent will... Yeah, let's play Cephalic Coliseum, I think. Just Omniscience, all right. And Fable for my opponent. So this is a Show and Tell, Prison and Tell, Show and Prison. My opponent might be actually one of those dual decks. So do I care about that? I think I do. My opponent doesn't have more mana, so let's cast this on that. My opponent doesn't need mana with Omniscience, but I will definitely not keep this consign in my hand after this start. At least my opponent will not have a creature in play. So yeah, I wasn't prepared to what I'm seeing, and my hand suddenly is not that good. Wasteland. It doesn't matter Wasteland here because of Omniscience, so let's just play Hedge Maze. I don't think we want that. We need to pressure my opponent somehow. So let's put that into my graveyard, and I'll see my opponent's top deck. It's a Force of Will, alright. So we have an extra draw, thanks to Bubble. A Temio. Temio might be good, but my opponent will have a Force of Will. They can discard 2 cards to draw 2 cards. Sneak attack. Okay, so my opponent's playing Atraxa. We can consider here, guys. Oh, let's see what Atraxa will reveal first, just to understand my opponent's deck better. This is not a dual deck. This is just a straight Show and Tell with a Chalice and some different decks. Alright, so let's consider. Now we understand what my opponent is doing. I was pretty confused by Chalice of the Void on 1. Traditionally, Show and Tells decks would not do that. So, Consign to Memory might still be good, but I think Daze is better. My opponent's mana will be sometimes tight. I think Blood Moon is at its best here. Force of Negation is probably incredibly good. Can we include Consigns? Maybe we can be full control here against this opponent. Forget Meltdowns. So now we are heavily blue. Lightning Bolt is not that strong against my opponent's deck. I can take 1 more. Since playing aggressively is not the best here, my opponent might have a turn 1 again. I think I'll just take some of our... Let's keep Darcy, but no bolts. I'll try like that. Conflagrate is our removal spell this game. Yes, I would like to play first. Faithless Looting we trust. Let's try. We have 6 forces and we have Wasteland if my opponent's hand is not that fast like we saw before. So first main phase, We could even start with Tamio instead of looting, but looting might lead us to a turn 2 Murktide with protection if we find a Force of Will. So Flooded Strand, Krakenate for a Volcanic, and looting. Resolved pretty quickly. Let's discard Grave-Troll and a Wasteland. Let's cast a Bubble, and let's see my opponent's top deck. Chalice, alright. Chalice is not the best for my opponent with this hand. We can dredge 6 instead of draw a card, but I think I will draw here because if we draw a Force of Will, it will be so good. Brainstorm. Brainstorm is also good. We need a second mana source. My opponent has a Scalding Tarn. Krakenate for a basic island, alright. And that's it. Okay. So my opponent will probably try Chalice on 1 next turn. We need another blue mana here, so I'll just draw. Okay, this is not the worst again. Let's play Wasteland and Tamio and pass a turn. We are kind of protected here against something with Daze plus Wasteland. My Wasteland is threatening for my opponent because now they definitely need to find another basic. Anything non-basic I will just destroy on the spot, and we have Daze in our hand. We can cast a Brainstorm and flip Tamio on our turn. I want to find another fetch. Okay, Ancient Tomb for my opponent, so let's see what they will play. If they play just Chalice on 1 here, we can't counter with Daze, but if this is Show and Tell, we can definitely use our Daze. Lots of special for my opponent. Okay, stock up instead. You can stock up first. I will not counter that. Let's save Daze for something else, but I will definitely destroy Ancient Tomb. Alright, we will draw again. We want another fetch land here. Life from the Loam is good, but we need a fetch land first. So let's attack with Tamio first to grab our clue. And now I'll cast Brainstorm. And we need to draw cards to flip Tamio, right? And we need lands. So let's draw at least 2 cards here and find a land. Conflagrate is not a land. Force of Will is not a land, but this is pretty good. And another draw? Okay, we found our land. We can put 2 cards on top of our library. Conflagrate is one of them for sure. And what is the other one? Wasteland. Tamio goes up. We play a land. We destroy Ancient Tomb. And we pass a turn. I don't want to crack Polluted Delta immediately here. If my opponent grabs a Volcanic Island, no, just a basic island, alright. If this is just Chalice, we don't care. We have Tamio in play, we have Force, we have Daze, we have Murktide. Thundertrap Trainer, do we care about that? They can grab something, but I'm not sure if we care about that. If I cast Daze here, my opponent needs to crack Petal in response. That's definitely interesting. Let's fetch here. Let's see the top of our deck with the Surveil Land. If we have a blue card on top of our deck, I can Daze that. If we don't, I will let this resolve. Another land. So let's put that into our graveyard. And yes, this resolves. Show and Tell for my opponent. Okay. Do we draw or do we dredge here? If we dredge, I want to resolve Loam here, but again, I would be thrilled if I just have another blue card in my hand. So let's draw. Alright, now I'm feeling good. If we cast Murktide here, we can exile only two non-creatures, instant or sorceries. I think we can wait a little bit to this Murktide. So let's plus Tamio and cast Loam, taking Wasteland, Volcanic, and Fetchland. It resolved quickly, so I'll play Flooded Strand and pass a turn. We have 2 Dazes and Force of Will here. Let's see if my opponent can resolve a Show and Tell through that. Okay, it's a Show and Tell. So Force of Will, exiling Murktide. Okay, this was simple. My opponent will attack Tamio, but this has no power, not enough power to hit Tamio. I will shuffle here just to, thinning the deck a little bit, because now I'll dredge. Now it's time to dredge. Now my opponent has basics, so Wasteland is not good anymore. I'll dredge 6 here. Okay. Tamio now will go down to take Force of Will back. I'll play my land. I'll crack a clue. I'll dredge 3. And I'll cast Life from the Loam, getting back Boseiju. It doesn't matter too much. We can discard Grave-Troll due to hand size. But maybe it's better to keep this in our hand and just discard. We have another one there. Yeah, let's discard Grave-Troll. I think it's fine. And now it's my opponent's turn. They can hit Tamio if they want to. We know that my opponent has 1 Chalice of the Void in their hand. We have an answer to that. My opponent will try Sneak Attack. I will cast Daze, getting His Maze back. It worked. And now my opponent can hit Tamio. We can dredge 6 here. And now I'll play my His Maze. It's a replay. Cephalic Coliseum, not useful at this point. I think Tamio will go up for sure. And I think I'll cast Faithless Looting purely as a selection tool here. So just to loot 2 cards, we have several lands in our hand. So I'll draw. Another Force of Will is beautiful. And I'll draw another Grave-Troll. Let's discard 1 Wasteland and Scalding Tarn. That's pretty much it. Let's pass the turn. Opponent knows that we have 1 Force of Will. They don't know about the second or the daze. My opponent's turn. They draw. Stock up. Let's daze that. This time I will return a Volcanic Island instead of Hedge Maze. And my opponent plays a Volcanic Island and a Lotus Petal. And that's it. No attacks this turn. Let's draw. I'll have a natural draw here. Loam, alright. Let's play Wasteland and take that Volcanic Island. Temio goes up again. And we can cast Loam here just to grab Wasteland, Cephalic Elysium, and Wasteland. So my opponent knows that they will not keep non-basics for too long. And we can discard one Grave-Troll and one Wasteland, that's fine. My opponent plays a land, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. I think I want to counter that. We can destroy that with Boseiju, and I don't care too much about the creature. But my opponent will loot, and I would like to not allow that. On the other hand, if I force that, my opponent can resolve other cards after that. Okay, let's force that. If my opponent is trying to resolve Fable, it's because they don't have much going on. We know that one of those 3 remaining cards is Chalice, and if they try to resolve a show and tell, they might have a payoff, and maybe not much after that. So this turn, I think I will crack Cephalic Elysium just as a selection effect here. We're still not in a position to win this game. I just have a natural draw again. This is still not a moment to win this game. But the next turn, Temio will probably ultimate. Or maybe we don't need to ultimate since we are already pretty deep into our deck. But we have our conflagrates to find. Let's draw. Consign to Memory is good. So I'll play Cephalic Elysium here. I'll crack it as a selection effect. Draw. Conflagrate, great. Draw. Another Temio, good. And Darcy. Darcy is good. So we already played our land. I think I can discard 3 lands here. No, let's keep Boseiju in our hand. I'll discard Volcanic, Wasteland, and Conflagrate. Let's cast Darcy. And Temio will go down again just as an insurance, grabbing Force of Will. This way we have Force of Will, Consign to Memory, and a blocker. So my opponent cannot put Temio down to 2. And we already found a Conflagrate, so now it's time to win the game. Now we'll start to loaming, to hit Conflagrate, to hit my opponent with Conflagrate, and win the game soon. Okay, let's pass. I don't think my opponent's deck has an answer to Darcy at this point. Don't think they have removal spells. We know about 1 Chalice and 2 other cards in my opponent's hand. It's actually pretty weird that they never tried to resolve Chalice of the Void this game. This is why we are... Well, they saw Boseiju, but maybe they are holding mana for some reason. Okay, my opponent corrects his Counter for a Surveil land. They kept the card on top, that's scary. It's a sneak attack. Let's say no, right? Darcy will Surveil. Brainstorm is good. It's a good card. Let's keep it. We will draw Brainstorm. We have several things that we can do here. We can even cash in this Temio just to bring another force to our hand. Let's see, we have 1 force, 2 negations are there, 1 force of will. We still have 2 force of will in our deck, so let's cast Brainstorm first. Let's use a Volcanic Island to do that. So Darcy will trigger. I don't want this basic island. Let's put this there. We will draw Force of Will. Great, amazing. We have another force. So let's draw 1 more card and let's loam. And we can put back Tropical and Grave-Troll. Temio will go up. I'll grab Wasteland, Cephalic Elysium, and Volcanic Island. Darcy triggers again. Let's always yield to that. We don't want our Grave-Troll, of course. And now we play Wasteland, targeting that Thundering Falls. Temio went up. Everything is working. Let's attack with our Darcy. So we have 1 layer of protection here. My opponent has 4 cards in their hand. Nothing for my opponent. That's beautiful. Now it's time to go for the throat. Loam. Temio goes up. We can loam back Basic Island, Tropical Island, and Wasteland. Another Darcy. Not exactly what we want here. I will play my Cephalic Elysium as a selection effect. And we have the win next turn. We could put this Temio down to grab another counter spell. But I think we are probably fine here. A sneak attack from my opponent. Let's force that. Infinite forces. And my opponent concedes. Oof, finally. We will have the win here with Conflagrate, Temio plus Darcy. Alright. This was a long game, but pretty interesting. I'll do a quick pause here because I have to work soon, but then I'll come back to finish this league. Let's do it. Alright guys, this is the next day. We are paired against silviawataru, and I believe my opponent plays Tempo, so let's see, this will be interesting. Okay, turn 1 Temio, turn 2 Brainstorm, also Mishra's Bubble and Loam. When did you saw a hand like this previously? Probably never. Alright, let's skip this. So, first swing phase. The thing is, I want green mana to cast Loam here, so let's play Bubble first. And I'll see my opponent's top card first. If this is Wasteland, for example, okay, my opponent also has a bubble. So let's try, right? Let's try. At least if Temio resolves, we'll have some great thing to do on the next turn. Let's see if my opponent will be surprised or not. If my opponent tries to counter that, I'm not sure if I try to counter it back, because Temio is pretty strong when you first resolve. Okay, my opponent didn't counter it, but my opponent thought for a long time, so I think my opponent has a counter spell. Let's see, we'll draw an extra card, hopefully another blue card, perfect. This is perfect. Now we can counter something scary and also flip Temio on turn 2. Tempo-Dredge. Opponent plays Polluted Delta, cracks it for a basic plains, basic item, sorry, and they also have a Temio. I think I'll try to counter that. I want to play Temio alone. I don't want to give my opponent the opportunity to flip a Temio before me. Can you imagine? Let's see if they have something. No counterspell, great. That's so exciting. Playing Tempo against Tempo. We'll draw. Conflagrate, okay. So we have only one land in our... Should I cast the Brainstorm? I probably should cast the Brainstorm here to flip Temio instead of holding it for one extra turn, because my opponent maybe can... I want to resolve my life from the loam, but it's probably better to just cast Brainstorm. So let's attack first. Okay, no blockers. Now I will flip Temio, or maybe not if my opponent has Daze. I will not play around Daze because, yeah, that's why. Because we could get more things to do. Not red mana yet, but at least we'll have life from the loam next turn. So next turn, life from the loam, crack Misty Rainforest, so I can shuffle something here. I think I want to shuffle Conflagrate. It's too soon for a Conflagrate. We don't have 2 red mana. So let's put Conflagrate and Darcy on top. Maybe my opponent has a Thoughtseize. So Temio goes up. I'll play my basic island and pass turn. We did our thing, but let's see if my opponent can come back from this. They have 6 cards in their hand. Cori Steelcutter is a good start. And we know that they also have a Mishra's Bubble, so they'll have a creature with haste here. They'll see our top 2 cards. They will see our... So far, so good. We are hiding that we have dredge cards in our deck. We are hiding that beautifully. But now my opponent will think that we are a Rug Tempo deck. Okay, they are attacking Temio. I can press F6 here. I have nothing else. Let's drink some coffee. And now my opponent draws an extra card. And we drew Darcy. Let's try to resolve Loam here. Okay, my opponent let it happen. Let's crack Misty. Shuffling the Conflagrate. Volcanic Island for us. And now I'll cast Darcy. Okay, everything is resolving. And Temio goes... Yeah, I don't want to get anything back. Temio goes up. And we can pass the turn. Okay, so far everything is happening according to the plan. My opponent plays a land. Lightning Bolt on Darcy. Okay, no answer. Better on Darcy than on Temio, right? So now this Monk token will be huge. So they can deal 3 damage on Temio. That's still fine. Temio maybe works just as a distraction while we do our other stuff. This is a good thing of playing rogue decks in Legacy, because you can... How can I say this in English? You can create opportunities to confuse your opponents, like misdirection, something like that. My opponent might think that I need to keep Temio alive, but we have other stuff that can happen in this game. Can you imagine me here, for example, casting a giant Conflagrate, just cleaning the board? This is something that we can do. My opponent is deep in the tank with this Brainstorm. They already played a land, so this is an opportunity for them to shuffle some bad cards back in the deck. Next turn we can even dredge by sacrificing a clue. Let's see, my opponent will attack Temio. Only 2 damage, Temio goes down to 2. And now we can dredge. I think I'll dredge here. Dredge 3. Okay, now we have 7 cards in our graveyard. Temio definitely goes up. And now it's weird, because Temio will probably die soon here, right? We don't have any expectations to have this Temio alive. My opponent probably can get Temio down the next turn. They have 4 cards in their hand after a Brainstorm. Since we are not a traditional dredge deck which will just crack Cephalic Coliseum here to have some value, it's difficult to know exactly what to do. We can crack Cephalic Coliseum here to just draw 3, discard 3, and then cast Loam, getting some lands back. We can also just draw a card first. We need more red mana. I think I'll do that, guys. I'll crack Cephalic Coliseum here, but let's try to draw something good instead of only dredging. So I'll draw. Bubble, okay, draw again. Volcanic, naturally, alright. Let's draw again. Okay, we drew some lands. Let's discard Grave-Troll, Loam, and Volcanic. I'll play Mishra's Bubble. I'm not sure what I'm doing, but I think this might work. Let's see what my opponent has on top. They will shuffle it, but oh, a Wasteland. So my opponent chose to put a Wasteland back in the deck. That's information, that's good. So my opponents don't want to prioritize Wasteland since we have life from the loam. Alright, I think I will sacrifice this to draw a card immediately, and I will draw it. Okay, Faithless Looting is good. So let's pass the turn. My opponent will probably kill Tamio this turn, and then we need to find something else. My opponent's deck is more aggressive than ours. Let's see. We will draw a card here. Am I dredging? I think I'll dredge Loam here. Alright, we had a Wasteland there, so we can start grabbing Wastelands with Life from the Loam. But maybe it's too slow for... Yeah, my opponent has another Cori. Ponder. True Resolve. Yeah, I think we need Conflagrate here. But at this point of the game, my opponent will... If they didn't have a counterspell before, now they probably have one. Oh, my opponent shuffled their library. Maybe not. So 1, 2... My opponent can kill Tamio and deal 2 damage to us. No blocks. And now it's not time to dredge yet. Let's draw again. A Grave-Troll. Okay. I will cast Looting. It's resolving. We are still drawing. Land and land. Not what we want to see here. Okay, this was good until my opponent dropped a second Cori Steel Cutter. I don't think we will come back from this. I think I will just concede here, guys, to not show our deck too much to my opponent. They saw some dredge cards, some tempo cards. They might think that this is just a dredge deck including Tamio. So let's concede here and try to sideboard something surprisingly better. We don't actually have that many cards against Tempo here. Our sideboard is not tuned for nothing specifically, only for artifact decks. We could try to surprise my opponent with a Blood Moon, but they can play so many cards with Blood Moon. This is not a terrible card to fight. So maybe we don't do much here. To thrive in this matchup, we need to... Is Meltdown a good choice against my opponent's deck? Since we don't have any answer to artifacts, only counter spells. But to destroy a Cori Steel Cutter, we need 3 mana. And then the damage is already done. Well, have Boseiju. Let's try again submit the deck without any changes. Let's see what is happening with our weird creation here. Okay, we are on the play. We cannot keep that, unfortunately. Let's mulligan. This is better. We don't have ways to cast Looting yet. All the other cards are good. But maybe it's better to keep Looting instead of Grave-Troll. We're not in a position to start dredging yet. So let's keep that. And I'll put a Grave-Troll on the bottom. Let's start playing like a traditional Tempo deck. Kind of what we tried to accomplish next turn. In the previous game, I mean. But, okay, my opponent has a Daze on top. So let's cast Tamio. It's in play. Alright. I think this time I will not rush to flip this Tamio. I'll just let it stay on the battlefield. Oh, my opponent also has a Tamio. Okay. Gaining advantage, I mean. My opponent now has a bubble. We don't need to resolve Brainstorm to flip Tamio now because my opponent will draw an extra card on next turn. Okay. Lightning Bolt is a great answer to Tamio. I would like to crack Wasteland targeting Volcanic Island here, but maybe it's better to just destroy Tamio. Let's think. Let's attack first. And then we still keep Brainstorm as a way to flip Tamio at instant speed. Maybe this is better. Okay, Tamio blocks Tamio. I will play my Volcanic Island and I'll target Tamio with my Lightning Bolt. Alright. My opponent draws an extra card. And this is a subtle thing that we can do with Bubble, right? My opponent did the right thing trying to flip Tamio without a Brainstorm, which is cracking Bubble on your opponent's turn. I cracked Bubble on my own turn because I had some hopes of drawing Force of Will or Daze to counter my opponent's first spell. Okay, my opponent just kept the card on top and nothing else. I will not flip Tamio on my opponent's turn. Let's enter our turn first. We will draw. Force of Will is good. Now we can flip Tamio by casting Looting instead of Brainstorm. Let's start here with Wasteland, destroying Volcanic Island. My opponent taps for blue. And Surgical or Wasteland. Do we care? Oh, they will daze their own Surgical. Oh, I see. So that's smart. A smart move to save their own land. So they want that land, right? So let's use to daze. Now, do we care about that? I think that's fine. We don't need Wastelands to win this game. Let's allow my opponent to see our deck. Okay, so we attack. My opponent has 5 cards in their hand. Let's attack with their Tamio. Now, we could cast Faithless Looting here as a safer way to flip Tamio. But we have so many blue cards, right? Let's cast Brainstorm here. Okay, we couldn't find another blue card, but Darcy is pretty good for the future. We can even just crack a clue here. I don't know. It seems my opponent doesn't have any answers to what we are doing, so maybe Force of Will is not that good anymore. Let's put Force of Will and Boseiju on top of our deck. Tamio goes up, and I'll just play Darcy here. Alright, my opponent doesn't know what we have in our hand, so we could have a Force of Will yet, right? We could still have a Force of Will in our hand. Brainstorm from my opponent, and Volcanic Island. Okay, my opponent will destroy our Darcy, that's fine. And now it will be our turn again. We will draw our Boseiju. Tamio could go down here just to grab Brainstorm or Darcy again. I don't think we need that Force of Will anymore. We are still far from reaching threshold. I think I'll cast Looting first. Okay, now I have 2 blue cards. But I need to drop a land this turn. We don't have bounce spells. We don't have Brazen Borrower. So if I discard my Bousei, I don't have... the thing is, I don't have green mana yet. And we need green mana to win. Okay, I'll discard Force of Will and Cephalic Coliseum. I'll play Bouseijo as a land. I'll draw another card. Force of Will is good. Can we still push Temio up here? Or should I grab a second Force of Will to have Force of Will plus Daze? This worked on our yesterday's match, our first round. Okay, let's try to keep pushing Temio up for one more turn, since we found our Force of Will. It's hard to play this strategy. It's really hard. You need to think on so many different things. And since I decided to accept the challenge of building the... Oh, my opponent has a Wasteland. Let's see what they will try to... Oh, no, they are just casting Murktide around Daze. My opponent still has 3 cards in their hand. Okay, we need to try to counter that, right? Because if Murktide resolves, we'll just lose Temio next turn. Okay, it actually worked. All right. We are Hellbent. We don't have Dredgers in our yard. We can draw 1 card. We can grab something back with Temio. Okay, now my opponent will destroy our Volcanic. So a Life from the Loam would be sweet here. Let's draw. Daze, not what we want. So let's crack the clue. Volcanic is excellent. So I think we'll go up with Temio. And I'll play my Volcanic Island and pass a turn. We have a Daze here. We still have a layer of protection if my opponent has something that costs 2 mana. Just a Ponder. Ponder is fine. Are we ultimating Temio? Are we? If we ultimate Temio, we can find Life from the Loam and Conflagrate, so we can cast a giant Conflagrate. Oh, I mean, I want to do that. I want to do that. Please. I want to do that so bad. Okay. My opponent found another land. Preordain is fine. Oh, can my opponent destroy our Temio? They don't have Orcish Bowmasters or something like that, and hopefully they don't play Stifle. 2 cards on top. That's scary. No! Oh, but we have a Daze. We have a Daze. Let's see. We have a Daze. Can my opponent counter that? My opponent conceded. No! No. I wanted to do the thing. My opponent didn't answer me, but no. I want to do the thing. I want to do the thing. My opponent is not answering me here on the chat, but... Okay, let's sideboard. Now what? Now what? Daze and Force of Will. Usually Tempo players not keep Forces or Dazes in this matchup, but since we are not playing Pyroblast and Hydroblast in our sideboard, maybe it's just better to keep everything. I was thinking about including Leyline of the Void, but Leyline of the Void will just... it is good, of course, against Murktide and Darcy. Should I grab a Force of Negation against Cori Cutter? It seems my opponent is considering both Hydroblast and Pyroblast against our decks, so maybe Darcy is not that good on the draw? So many questions. I'm just starting with baby steps here, my journey as a Tempo player. So, okay, let's do the same, guys. Let's just submit the deck back. No changes. The way I see is if you don't know how to sideboard, don't sideboard at all. It's better to not get things worse, right? Okay, we have Temio, we have Force of Will, we have Daze, we have Faithless Looting. This is a snap keep. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have Wasteland. Opponent also kept 7. Island for my opponent. Oh, and Delver. Do we care? I don't think we care. We want to protect Temio or other threats here. Okay, no response. Because we can kill Delver with a Lightning Bolt at any moment. Delver is not... Oh, Bubble is pretty sweet. So instead of starting with Temio, let's start with Volcanic Island and Darcy. And now I'll play Mishra's Bubble. We want this land, of course. Keep it on top. We need more lands. And do I want to draw that land immediately? Maybe not, because we have Temio, right? So we can wait 1 turn to crack Bubble. Now let's do the right thing. Let's see if this Delver will reveal something good. If they do, okay, let's see what my opponent will draw with our Bubble. So it's not a spell. Oh, it's a Darcy, all right. Darcy is fine. Again, we can deal with Darcy. We have Lightning Bolt. Okay, my opponent is casting Ponder without playing a land, so I'll try to Daze that. It's bad because we will lose our Darcy's trigger. We already know what we have on top, but maybe that's fine. If my opponent needs lands, this play can be pretty good. Let's yield. Okay, my opponents don't have the second land. They don't have the second land. Okay, so Mishra's Bubble. We'll draw an extra card. We knew about that land. And 3 lands, great. Ooh, we might be ahead here, guys. Let's think. Should I play Temio? Should I destroy Delver? I want to have more triggers from Darcy, but I think the thing is, Temio is our only other blue card here. So I'm not sure what am I supposed to do. So many different paths here. But I'm not sure if I need to protect my Darcy. The thing is, my hand is pretty good. I don't want to discard anything. So playing Looting here is not the best. I think I'll take the risk here, guys. Let's get shields done for one turn. I want to play Tamio. My opponent doesn't have red mana. We know that my opponent has a Darcy in their hand, and they don't have red mana here. So they cannot destroy Tamio easily. They need to naturally draw a land here. Maybe they have more cantrips, but putting 2 threats, since we have more lands in our hand, we have a ways to deal with one creature. Maybe it's better than just holding Force of Will, because we don't need to protect ourselves from a thing here. It's fine to push our game plan a little bit, I think, hopefully. Because my opponent is not casting Murktides here. And if my opponent plays Tamio, for example, we can destroy it with a Lightning Bolt. Okay, Hydroblast, we can't counter that. We don't have Darcy anymore. Ooh, no, my opponent doesn't have lands. That ponder was pretty important for them. So let's draw. Conflagrate. This is good. Not now. This is a moment where casting Faithless Looting is actually important. My opponent might have Daze or Force of Will, but should I play around it? Okay, let's play Misty Rainforest and cast Looting now. Oh, this will flip Tamio. I'm stupid. I should attack with Tamio first. I'm sorry, guys. Too many things to pay attention here. So let's discard Conflagrate, and I think I still want to keep our lands. We don't have other blue spells, but I think I don't want Cephalic Coliseum yet, so let's discard Cephalic Coliseum here. We should attack first, but that's fine. Let's push Tamio here. And now I think I'll hold Lightning Bolt to Delver. Should we use it now? Okay, if Delver flips, we'll fire Lightning Bolt targeting Delver. Let's see. If Delver doesn't flip, we can grab Hedge Maze here. Okay, they will flip with Pounder. So let's allow my opponent to cast Pounder first. With this on the stack, we'll grab Volcanic Island, and I'll destroy Delver. Hopefully, unless my opponent has a counter spell. Okay, and now my opponent needs lands, and probably a way to destroy Tamio. My opponent needs some Pyroblasts or 2 bolts, but they don't have red mana. Brazen Border is also a good card for my opponent if they are playing Petty Thefts. Okay, my opponent didn't shuffle. Volcanic Island for my opponent. And Darcy. Okay. We already have Delirium, so our Darcy can block that Darcy. Let's draw. Bubble. We have Conflagrate there, but I don't want to spend that Conflagrate yet. So Tamio goes up or down. We could get Daze just to counter something with a Force of Will. I think this is probably better. Okay, let's see. I will cast Darcy first. I'll play Bubble, triggering Darcy. We can put this Conflagrate in our graveyard. Let's see what is on top of my opponent's deck. A Brainstorm. Okay. So, I think I will get something back from my graveyard here. Let's get Daze back from my graveyard here. My opponent doesn't know about Force of Will, but they will know about Daze. And I'll play my Polluted Delta, and I'll pass a turn. This might be completely wrong, guys. Remember that this is my first time playing with this weird, different, new Tempo-Dredge challenge. Okay, we drew a Tamio, so we have Force of Will and Daze here. Well, my opponent will try to destroy our Darcy. Do we try to counter that? We have another Tamio in our hand. We don't want Surgical. We have Conflagrate. I think I will see what's on top of my deck before committing a counter spell here. Let's see with Hedge Maze. Wasteland. Oh, that's tempting. Okay, let's keep Wasteland on top, I think. And okay, we have Conflagrate there. I think, guys, the thing is, if my opponent is doing this now, they might not have the third land. They didn't play another land before doing this. So I think I will just cast Force of Will here. Since we have a Wasteland, I'll keep Daze here. Maybe my opponent has something else after that. Or I'll keep Wasteland on top. But this might be completely wrong. Sometimes when I watch Tempo players in situations like this, they prioritize removal, but they also have Pyroblast and Hydroblast, and I don't. So yeah. Okay, it seems my opponent doesn't have other ways to get rid of our Darcy. So they need to attack, and we'll block. Now it's protect the Queen. We'll protect Tamio with our life if we need to. We need to play faster. I have only 3 minutes left in my clock, so I'll try to think faster and play faster here. My opponent has 9 remaining minutes. Delver? Delver is fine. We have answers to Delver. We have Conflagrate. So now we'll draw our Wasteland. Tamio goes up. Wasteland will take care of Volcanic Island. And I think that's it. Let's hold these days one more turn. If this Delver flips, it doesn't flip. Great. It's weird to play Mana Denial in a Dredge deck, but this is a Tempo/Dredge, so... and we didn't see Dredge decks in our graveyard this game yet. But we have Conflagrate. We just need one Loam to do amazing things. Okay, no attacks and no lands from my opponent. That's huge. Lightning Bolt is huge. Let's go up here, and I'll just pass back. Now, if this Delver flips, we will try to destroy it. Pyroblast. Oh, this is a clean... Well, my opponent doesn't have... Okay, let's try to destroy Delver now. Okay, Delver is down. My opponent doesn't have red yet. We need to play faster. Come on. Draw step. Brainstorm is good. Temio goes up. We already have conflagrates there. If Temio ultimates, we win the game on the spot. Okay, my opponent will cast Brainstorm here. They have a Pyroblast. We need to protect Temio somehow. Maybe the right call here would be get Temio down just to grab a Force of Will. But since I'm playing faster, I might be doing some mistakes here. I'm sorry, guys. First time playing this deck. Okay, let's see if my opponent has a land now. They probably do. Floated Strand. All right. Yeah, I should definitely grab Force of Will there. This wasn't the right call for sure. Okay, my opponent's just passing. So they want to cast Pyroblast at a different moment here. Now? Yeah, because we could have a Force of Negation. All right. All right, let's cast this Brainstorm here. Oh, 2 Daisies. And 1 Loam. So let's put Wasteland and Loam. This is pretty weird, but let's try that. Daze? I think I'll pay full price for these days. Let's try. It doesn't feel like my opponent has something else besides that. And I don't want to lose mana for this turn. But maybe this is wrong. Okay, Temio is alive. We'll draw Loam. We should have a Wasteland on top instead, right? Now what? Do we still keep pushing Temio? That is probably the right thing to do. Let's push Temio 1 more. And then we can ultimate Temio next turn unless my opponent has a second Pyroblast. But now we are shields down. Guys, I'm playing this far from perfectly. I'm passing the turn here and I just noticed that I should keep a Wasteland on top, things like that. But we need to run here. Another land for my opponent. So maybe, oh, Lightning Bolt, okay. So Temio will not flip this turn. So this is a good thing. My opponent doesn't have another Pyroblast. Murktide, no answers. Is this the end? Come on. Draw step, Wasteland. So we will not flip Temio. My opponent, we cannot kill Murktide this turn. If Temio goes up, my opponent can kill Temio beautifully here. We need to think fast. So since we will lose Temio, let's return what? Lightning Bolt, Conflagrate, Looting. Okay, I'll get Brainstorm back and I will destroy 1 land from my opponent here. I'll get several lands back. We don't have time to think here. And I will cast Brainstorm, but we will lose this on time now. That's too bad. Dredge, Dredge, and Dredge. Okay, let's put 2 Grave-Trolls back. We'll lose this on time, guys. But it's fine. We are just doing mistakes as a new player with a new deck. My opponent is thinking here, but there is no catch here. They can ignore Temio completely and just go face here if they feel they can win with Murktide. Oh, they found a Pyroblast and Preordain. Just 2 cards in my opponent's hand. So let's draw. I'll grab Loam. I'll grab several lands back. I'll play 1 land. I'll grab Loam to grab 1 more land back. Just to show you guys what we could do now. We could do this some turns in a row. We could finish Murktide, but we didn't do the right call in the previous turns, playing that fast. Yeah, my opponent had a second Murktide. GG's. This was incredibly interesting. We lost, but this was so close. If we think that we lost here because I did a couple of wrong decisions in the mid game, because I don't understand my own deck yet. It's still too new. But hopefully this was entertaining enough. Now, let's go to our 3rd match and get things better. Oh, now I'm seeing that this is not good enough. There. Alright, guys, this is round 3. We are paired against Jnickerson. And okay, this is an interesting start. Let's keep that. We have lands, creatures, and spells. And let's try to play faster this time. Let's not lose on time. So, Volcanic Island and Darcy. It's in play. We are shields down here if my opponent has a combo kill. We don't have Wastelands. Force of Will, I'm sorry. Mountain. Lightning Bolt. Alright. We have another one. But basic Mountain, huh? Mishra's Bubble. So let's play our second Darcy. And now I want to see what's on top of our library with the Surveil trigger. Temio is a good draw. Let's keep Temio on top. And now I'll see what's on top of my opponent's deck. Another boat. Alright. Better losing Darcy than losing Temio, I think. Now we will draw Temio. We can get the Surveil land on the end of this turn. My opponent has Polluted Delta. Darcy, okay, Darcy dies. And that's it. Unless my opponent has an answer to Temio, we can flip Temio immediately with Faithless Looting. Loam, let's Dredge. Dredge 3. Okay. Now I think I play Temio here. And I'll try to flip it immediately with Faithless Looting. Okay, my opponent try to answer my Temio. Underground Sea. Alright, my opponent's playing Grixis. We'll still draw 2 here. I will Dredge at this point, just to have more lands in my yard. We have 1, 2, we already have 3 lands. Let's draw 1 card. Oh, another Temio is great. So I'll discard my 2 Dredgers. And let's destroy this underground sea. And now we pass a turn. If my opponent's playing Grixis, they might not have Wasteland, and our Wastelands will be pretty good. Okay, another dual land. They don't want Temio. Let's dredge 3. I'll get Wasteland, Cephalic Coliseum, and another land. Oh, my opponent will counter our Loam. Alright. Exciting Brazen Borrower. Let's pass a turn. We can try again next turn. My opponent has only 3 cards in their hand. Wasteland from my opponent, so forget about what I was saying. Okay, do we have another green mana in our deck? We do. So let's draw here. Okay. And we cannot cast both cards here. So I think I'll cast Looting. Cancel. Force of Will is good. Cancel. Darcy, alright. I think I'll discard Force and Darcy here and keep Temia for the next turn. And play Boseiju as a land. And let's pass. Next turn we can try Loam again. Oh no, we'll lose our Temia. And no lands from my opponent. So maybe our plan is working. Let's dredge. We'll get Loam, Hedge Maze, Volcanic, and Wasteland. Let's pay. Can you counter that, opponent? Okay, my opponent is conceding. They can't come back from Infinite Wastelands. That's good. Okay, let's go to our sideboard. If my opponent's playing Grixis with Wasteland, Blood Moon might be good. But we are on the draw, so probably not that good. Again, I built my sideboard quickly before starting these leagues, thinking on other opponents. I think against Tempo or Control decks, we are already pre-boarded. Let's just submit the deck back. Okay, Forces, Redraws, Brainstorm, Daze, Wasteland. Let's keep that. My opponent might think that Thoughtseize is a good play, but we will have so many redraws here. Oh, just a Tamio. We can't deal easily with Tamio here, so I think this will be a Force of Will, Exciting Daze. Okay, and now we'll draw. Boseiju. Let's start with Wasteland here, but also Bubble. Let's see what's on top of my opponent's deck before they can... Okay, just a Ponder. And now let's destroy this Underground Sea. Okay, we are playing faster. We are playing faster this time. Mercious Bubble triggers. We have another land. Good. Scouting turn from my opponent. Cracking it. Basic Island. Smart. And Ponder. Didn't shuffle. Alright. We draw. Volcanic. Let's play Hedge Maze here. Faithless Looting. Not the worst. Let's keep it on top. An opponent has a Wasteland. Fine. Fair. Oh, there's more. Spellbomb. Okay. We don't rely that much on our graveyard, so that's actually pretty okay. My opponent stopped on draw step here. Typically something that you do when you have an instant answer against a graveyard opponent. But again, our graveyard is just a misdirection in this league. I'll still cast Looting here just to improve my hand a little bit. Oh, we have a Darcy and another Wasteland. So let's discard Conflagrate. And what now? I kind of want everything here. My opponent doesn't have black or red mana yet, and we have a Wasteland, so maybe Darcy plus Wasteland plus Brainstorm is already good enough. Let's put Conflagrate and Boseiju there, and I'll pass a turn. Conflagrate alone, maybe it can scare my opponent enough. Not now, but in the future. Okay, another land from my opponent. Basic Swamp, and Thoughtseize. Okay, my opponent will take our Darcy probably. Or maybe Brainstorm. It all depends if they have an answer to creatures or not. Oh, they took Brainstorm, alright. We'll draw. Another Wasteland. So let's play our Wasteland here and cast Darcy. It's in play. It's a 3/3. And now it's my opponent's turn. A Wasteland, alright. Not that much of a problem here. We have our green mana safe in our hand. 3 cards on my opponent's hand. We'll draw. Murktide. Since we have a Murktide, I'll play my Tropical here and attack with Darcy. My opponent doesn't have an answer to our 3/3 flying. And now they will crack Spellbomb just to draw a card because our graveyard is not that great. Of course, Darcy will shrink and we will not have ways to cast Murktide Sun, but my opponent doesn't know that. Now what? Orcish Bowmaster is a clean answer to a shrinked Darcy. Alright. Red mana for my opponents. They don't have Tamio. They don't want Tamio. We need to draw something good here. Life from the Loam is excellent. So let's play Wasteland. Let's destroy the Theater. And let's grab Wasteland back. And hopefully next turn we can Loam to cast this Murktide and have more lands. Life from the Loam with Murktide Region is so good. Brainstorm from my opponent. Cling to this, so that's bad. But no other lands. We have several good top decks here. Hopefully not Brainstorm or Looting, but other stuff. Boat is also good. In the future, not now. Let's play Wasteland here, why not? Hopefully my opponent doesn't have another threat soon. Tamio is a threat. We are down to 15. We draw our own Tamio. Let's play it, right? But my opponent might have answers to Tamio. So now my opponent has another land, alright. Let's see how many basics they have. Okay, they'll attack with everyone. Let's block Orcish Bowmasters. Brainstorm for my opponents to flip Tamio. We can't do anything about that. Tamio goes up, so our Tamio will not cause any damage next turn. Opponents... Okay, It seems that my opponent has only 2 basics. The Void Walker, we are not afraid of that. And now we'll draw. Looting, we need other stuff. I think I will need to take a damage from Orcish Bowmasters here just to draw a card. Let's attack. Maybe you can wait one more turn to do that, just to not take 2 extra damage from Orcs. In exile, we have 1 Volcanic, so we still have 2 Volcanics in our deck. Tamio goes up again. So let's take this damage and crack the clue at the end of the turn. My opponent has that Cling to Dust ready. So let's draw a card. Force of Will, alright. A little too late. And now we'll draw. Another looting. Okay, I don't think we're gonna win here, guys. We can definitely wait one more turn. Let's attack here. Okay, I don't want to prolong this too much. I'll draw a card immediately here. Because if this is nothing usual, we can concede. Yeah, we can concede. Alright. So, my opponent has 2 basics. And we didn't see a single counter spell here. Is Blood Moon good on the play against a Thoughtseize deck? Maybe they are better than our own forces. I could include 3 Blood Moon. Is No Rod any good? My opponent had Spell Bomb, but I don't think my opponent has that many artifacts. Is Consign to Memory good against my opponent? We could try to include some consigns against my opponent here. I'm not sure if they will be that good. I will try to include only 1. I just want to test Blood Moon. But not sure if this will be good enough against my opponent. I will just play Blood Moon if I notice that my opponent doesn't have their basics at the beginning of the game. Okay, I think this is nice. Let's skip. I'm not sure if I'll start with Tamio or Darcy. Probably Tamio, because if my opponent doesn't have a Lightning Bolt, we can flip Tamio on turn 2 with Bubble and Cracking the Clue, or just Faithless Looting. And then we still have Lightning Bolts to destroy a creature and push Tamio up. My opponent also kept 7. Yeah, let's try Tamio first. I think I'm playing better, at least faster, compared to the previous matches. Alright, Scouting turn, cracking it. For Volcanic Island, I'll cast Tamio and Mishra's Bubble. And let's pass a turn. Now I'll crack Bubble, seeing my opponent's draw. Pyroblast. Oh, Pyroblast is just a clean answer to Tamio. That's bad. Oh, they don't have red mana yet. That's good news. Okay, now they found red mana probably. It wasn't a shuffle. We'll draw here, another Bubble, and draw again. A Lightning Bolt. So let's attack, get our clue, and now I'll play Darcy and Bubble. Let's see what's on top. A Blood Moon. My opponent has already a basic island, and with a Pyroblast, I don't think Blood Moon will be good enough. I think I don't want Blood Moon here. It's an enchantment, so Delirium is close. And let's see my opponent's top card. It's just a land. So I'll crack Polluted Delta here for another Volcanic, and I'll cast Looting, flipping Tamio, triggering Darcy. Oh, Brainstorm would be good this turn. It's still a good card, so let's skip it. We probably don't need Wasteland at this point, so let's discard 1 Bolt and 1 Wasteland. Darcy already reached Delirium. Tamio goes up. It doesn't matter, my opponent will destroy Tamio as soon as they can. And let's pass turn. I'll just press F6 here to be easy. Oh, we have another Tamio, great. Wasteland for my opponent. So this was their preference? This was a weird choice in my opinion, if they have Pyroblast, right? This was weird. So let's get some value from Tamio here. I'll get Faithless Looting with Tamio. Okay, my opponent will crack Spell Bomb in response. They don't want us to have another draw card. So I'll cast Brainstorm here, triggering Darcy. Consign to Memory is not exactly what I want. Lands are what I want. Okay, Boseiju is a land. And now we have Daze. So let's put Darcy and Tamio on top. I'll play Boseiju as a land. I should have attacked before doing all this stuff. Again, new player, guys. And Darcy attacks. And now it's my opponent's time. Scouting turn for them. Basic Mountain. Oh, so they have a Basic Mountain. Alright. Is this just a Pyroblast? It is. 2 card types in our graveyard and nothing else. Alright. We'll draw Tamio. I think I want to draw a card here before attacking. I mean, we know what we have on top, right? And we don't want to draw... Do we want to draw Darcy next turn? Because if I cast Tamio here, we cannot flip Tamio this turn or the next turn probably. That's a good problem. Let's attack first, dealing 1 damage to my opponent. I think I will draw 1 extra card here. But I mean, we don't need to draw now, but if my opponent has Orcish Bowmasters, we just want to draw now, right? So let's draw now, or Darcy that's on top. And next turn we will draw a fresh card. Underground Sea for my opponent, and Lightning Bolt, alright. Is this Murktide? Okay, we have a Daze here, so let's cast Daze on this Murktide Regent. And now we'll draw a fresh card. Hopefully it's a land, or Loam, it's our own Murktide. So I'll play Volcanic. Darcy will be a 1/1, so it dies to Orcish Bowmasters. Let's just cast Tamio here. My opponent draws, survey land, alright? They don't want press of progress, and they have their own Tamio, but no answer to our own Tamio. That's good. We draw, land. Land is absolutely great. So are we guaranteeing our Murktide here? Let's attack first. See if my opponent has a removal spell. They have only 2 cards in their hand, so we might have this. Okay. The thing is, they might have Orcish Bowmasters, so it is probably better to just have a great Murktide here. So Murktide would be a 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. I think a 6/6 is a good, respectable creature. So let's grab another Volcanic, and we can pay for Murktide here. I don't think my opponent is playing Daze. They might play Daze, and then I will be shocked, but I want to keep creature and land here. There on my... Okay, it was the right thing. In my graveyard, I mean, because we have another Darcy for next turn. My opponent didn't cast a spell, so let's see if they want to attack with Tamio. Undercity Sewers. Polluted Delta into their graveyard, and no attacks. 3 mana for my opponent. Another Murktide, alright. This is smaller, just a 5/5. So we'll draw. We can kill Murktide, but I don't think just to attack with Tamio. But I think I prefer to... It's difficult here. Let's draw a card. My opponent don't have Bowmasters ready, so let's draw a card first, before committing to a plan. Okay, Bubble is good. So I'll play Darcy, and I'll cast Bubble. Another bolt on top. Do we want 3 bolts in a row? 9 damage to my opponent's face? This can be lethal soon. Okay, not the worst, right? Let's keep that on top. I think we can win with 3 lightning bolts and 2 Murktide attacks. But I'll not crack Bubble yet. Let's attack with our Murktide. Okay, my opponent's down to 11. They play another land, and they attack with Tamio and Murktide. They draw a card immediately. I'll block Tamio with my own Tamio. Scalding Tarn getting Volcanic Island. And Ponder. Okay. Flipping Tamio, that's fine. Tamio goes up. And let's see what my opponent left on top of the deck. A land? Okay. So we'll draw a card. Let's see if my opponent has Bowmasters. No. Okay, so we have lethal. My opponent might have removal spells or bounce spells here. So let's draw first. Another Dredger. So let's cast a bolt targeting my opponent first. Sugaring Darcy. This is already lethal here. My opponent needs to answer our bolt somehow. Force of Will, exiling Kaito. So my opponent is Hellbent. Conflagrate can stay there. Now we attack everyone on my opponent. We don't care about Tamio's triggers. This will be lethal enough. Let's cast bolt targeting my opponent here. We don't want anything. We already have what we need. Oof. Okay, we won against Grixis control. Against Grixis, our dredge subplan wasn't needed. Having Conflagrate as last resource would be good if my opponent had more answers here. We had enough to deal more damage to my opponent. But yeah, we won. Let's go to our 4th match. Round 4, we are paired against Swarm of Bees. And we are on the play. This is just unkeepable. Let's mulligan. Okay, this is better. We have a threat, we have a dredger, we have looting, we have several lands, and even a removal spell. Let's see what we don't need here. Loam plus Wasteland is always interesting. We don't know if Lightning Bolt is important or not. So I think I'll put Bolt back. It might be important, but I don't know what my opponent is playing. Maybe Bolt is not good. We are on the play. Let's see. My opponent also had a mulligan to 6. Okay. So I'll start with a Darcy here. Next turn we'll have Looting plus Wasteland or Loam. So Volcanic Island and Dragon's Ray Channeler. It's in play. My opponent has Polluted Delta and passes. Alright. We will draw another Darcy. That's interesting. But I think we'll just cast Loam here. So let's get Tropical Island and Life from the Loam. Darcy triggers. Faithless Looting. I don't think we want another Looting. Let's put that into our graveyard. Okay, my opponent probably can counter Life from the Loam, but they don't know if they should counter Life from the Loam. Okay, Undercity Sewers, so they might have Daisy here. They don't want Street Wraith. Is this a Doomsday deck? Okay, let's attack. We have 2 sorceries in our graveyard. Opponent draws. Underground Sea. Ponder. Ponder resolves. A shuffle. And my opponent passes. I think we'll dredge here just to push damage with Darcy. Okay, it's a 3/3 now. And now I'll activate Wasteland to destroy the Undercity Sewers from my opponent. Oh, Dark Ritual in response? Is this a removal spell to Darcy? Okay, let's move to combat. Oh no, it was nothing? Okay. Just trying to get 1 counter spell, I believe. But we are not holding counter spells, unfortunately. I'll try to find some with our Faithless Looting here. Let's see if we can find some counter spells. So, Yield. Oh, Tamio is super good here. Let's keep Tamio on top. So, let's draw Tamio and let's draw another card. Brainstorm is also good. We can discard second Darcy and Flooded Strand. And I'll play Temio. And from now we can flip oh, my opponent will daze. Alright, no problem. I'll not pay the 1 for Temio. So my opponent has two less lands here. They need Dark Ritual Doomsday. Lotus Petal for my opponent, that's fine. And that's it. And now we'll destroy that Underground Sea. So we already have lands. Let's draw here. Bubble is good. So let's cast Bubble here. We don't want Lightning Bolt, I think. Do we? I don't think we want Bolt here. That's fine. And now I want to see my top deck. It's a Brainstorm. Alright. Don't think I need a Brainstorm here. So let's play Misty. I'll grab some lands here. This might be a mistake, but let's see if we can wait one more turn here. And I'll just attack. My opponent knows that we have one unknown card in our hand. Knows that we have 3 lands, and one unknown card. So now we'll draw, and I'll have a natural draw. This. That's good. This is what I was hoping to draw, a counterspell of any kind. Because now we have layers of protection here. We can even cast Brainstorm in response to anything, trying to get more counterspell. So what now? My opponent has access to 3 mana. Flooded Strand, cracking it. Another Underground. Oh, that's a Oracle. Okay, so my opponent wants to dig. They didn't keep any card. And now I'll crack Misty. For a Hedge Maze, let's have a free Surveil trigger. Boseiju. I don't think I need Boseiju here. Let's draw. At this point, I think we can find a Conflagrate to finish things, right? So let's dredge 6. Conflagrate is there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. This is almost lethal. I can destroy 1 Underground Sea here. And now that we found Conflagrate, we have lethal next turn. Let's attack dealing 3 damage. In my opponent's draws. Basic Island. Personal Tutor. Alright. But we have lethal next turn. I'm not sure even if I should cast Brainstorm here. I think I'll just draw Loam and cast Conflagrate. So Loam, let's attack first. Dealing 2 damage to my opponent. And now I'll grab 3 lands. Surveil. Another Daze. Let's keep that on top. What is better here? Because my opponent might have a Dark Ritual, right? And Thassa's Oracle is already there. If they resolve a Doomsday, well, maybe Cephalic Coliseum is our best answer against Doomsday. Just a guaranteed answer instead of a giant Conflagrate, because my opponent might have their own Daze there. If my opponent has Daze, we have our own Daze. My opponent can Daze back and then combo. So we have so many answers. We are so ahead. I don't think my opponent can do anything here to win. I do want to win with Conflagrate. So let's cast Conflagrate here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. And we discard you. And another trigger of... yeah, my opponent concedes. We won with Conflagrate. We did the thing. Yeah. But we could also won with Cephalic Coliseum, threatening to mill our opponents, or just casting Brainstorm to find the second Daze. We could wasteland my opponent. We had so many wins so many different paths to victory there. Okay, Doomsday. Force of Negation and Consign to Memory probably pretty good here. Blood Moon might be good, but on the draw, probably too slow. And I don't think we need too much, just more counter spells. Conflagrate can be pretty good against Doomsday. I think this card, my opponent combos and you win with a Conflagrate with X equals to 5 or 6, and this is just lethal by itself. The Grave-Troll approach here is probably too slow, so I think we can exchange at least 3 Trolls here to include 3 Consigns, especially on the draw, because we will never had time to cast a Grave-Troll here to threat our opponent. We have other ways to win this game. I feel like our weird strategy is pretty favored against Doomsday. So let's include 2 Force of Negation and take... Bolt is good, but I think 1 Bolt... I still keep 1 Grave-Troll, but we probably can take 2 Bolts here. My opponent might have other ways to win, but being on the play, I think they will just try to combo. Or maybe resolving in Tammy or something like that. So okay, let's try like that. Again, I'm not an expert on Tempo, and our sideboard is not tuned to fight Doomsday. But I think only including more counterspells, especially on the draw, will be a good choice. This would be a good hand in other situations, not this. Let's mulligan. Again, not mana, not the right colors of mana, and not access to counterspells. Oh, man. Can we keep this and hope that Bubble would draw us a land? Okay, let's try that. And I don't want looting, and we probably don't want Loam here too. It is an incredibly good card, but probably not good here. Just a basic land for my opponent. And Personal Tutor immediately, alright. So we need to draw a counterspell or... okay, Island is also good. So Island, Bubble. Let's see our top card, since we know about my opponent's top card. Our top card is another Bubble. Okay, so I'll cast Temio, I guess. If my opponent casts turn 2 Doomsday, is because they have Swamp Dark Ritual. So they will already play around Daze, so there's nothing we can do. But my opponent doesn't know about that. So Polluted Delta, Basic Swamp, Dark Ritual, yeah, and Doomsday. Let's see my opponent's deck after this Doomsday resolve and see if we can do something about that. We have Brainstorm, we have Daze, we have Wasteland, but Wasteland is not good here. So we'll see 5 more cards, considering Bubble, Brainstorm, and Natural Draw. We need to hit counter spells. We can flip Tamio, but this will not help us. Okay, let's see my opponent's exiled cards. So let's see how many counter spells. 1 Daze, 1 Force of Will, 2 Dazes, 1 Negation, 3 Wills, 2 Negations, 2 Dazes, 3 Wills, 4 Wills, another Daze here, another Negation. Yeah, my opponent might have a counter spell in their hand, but it's not Force of Will. We will draw. Looting. So let's play our Bubble. Let's see my opponent's top card. It's a Street Wraith. Alright. I'll play Wasteland here. Well, let's attack first, right? Let's attack with Tamio. We have a Clue token. And I will cast Brainstorm. Tamio will flip. Okay, nothing good. Cephalic Elysium could be good in the future, but we don't have good cards here for us in the future. Let's put Looting and Conflagrate on top. Yeah, the only way to win here is my opponent messes up and don't play around Daze somehow. So Tamio goes up, and now we pass the turn. So many forces in our deck, but we couldn't find any one of them. Okay, Street Wraith. My opponent's down to 7. Age of Autumn, sacrificing a land. Another... Yeah, my opponent is playing around Daze, and there's nothing we can do. Alright. But now we'll be on the play, and on the play, hopefully we'll not have a bad mulligan like we had on game 2. So let's sideboard. My opponent chose to get basics. Being on the play, do we change anything here? It's nice to have 1 bolt or 2, and the way my opponent tried to win the game last turn, a bolt on Thassa's Oracle in response would be good enough to win the game. We also have Consent to Memory, which is pretty good. Let's try the same. Let's submit the same configuration. And we are on the play. This is unfortunately not good. Let's mulligan. Okay, this is so much better. So much better. Let's keep that. I believe it's correct to keep everything. But we can't. Conflagrate might be good, but I don't think it's time to cast Conflagrate yet, so I'll put Conflagrate back. But this could be good. I want to keep the second Faithless Looting because it's a fast way to flip Tamio next turn. So let's cast Looting here. My opponent kept 7 cards. They might have counter spells. If they counter that Looting, that's fine. No counter spells? Alright. Again, I kind of want everything here. I think I will discard Looting and... I mean, Force of Will plus Looting plus Cephalic Elysium is almost a guaranteed win against Doomsday here. Maybe we don't need Tamio. If I keep Looting in my hand and I discard Tamio and Hedge Maze, so I keep Force of Will, Tamio, Cephalic Elysium. This is just the pitch for Force of Will. I'll not cast Tamio. And then next turn I can cast Looting again, and then I will guarantee 7 cards to crack Cephalic Elysium naturally on turn 3, even without dredging. Maybe this is our plan. If I discard Looting here, let's see, Looting, Tamio, 4 cards in my graveyard. Next turn we draw something, Hedge Maze, 5 cards, not good enough. Yeah, I need to keep Looting. So let's discard Hedge Maze and Tamio here. Let's play considering our opponent, and not what we want to do, but what we need to do to win the game. Swarm of Bees. My opponent has a basic island, Lotus Petal, Ponder. So playing around Daze, that's smart. And chose to shuffle their deck. That's good. That's good news. We enjoy this. Oh, Loam would be sweet in the future. So I will not play around Daze here. Let's just cast Looting. My opponent thinks that this might be pretty important. Yeah, they will cast Daze. That's fine. I will not pay for it. And now I'll play my Cephalic Elysium here, and I'll pass the turn. Now my opponent draws. Polluted Delta and passes. Great. Sorry. We have so many good draws here. Murktide. Are we casting Murktide here? I don't think so. I think I just cast Tamio, and Murktide is a pitch to Force of Will. Okay, my opponent will counter Tamio. Alright, 1 more card in our graveyard. My opponent exiled what? A Thassa's Oracle. Alright, they might have a second Thassa's Oracle. But this is important because now we probably can win with Cephalic Elysium. My opponent probably doesn't have a third Thassa's Oracle. Only if they have Jace. Ponder for my opponent, that's fine. At this point we will counter almost anything that my opponent will do, except cantrips, I think. I kind of want to my opponent to combo here. Okay, another land for them. We knew about that island. They didn't shuffle. We have a natural draw here, a second Murktide. It is quite tempting to just cast this Murktide, but I don't think we should. Let's pass the turn. I would love another land here. My opponent has Misty. Personal Tutor, alright. They put Doomsday on top. And now we draw. Darcy, we can cast it. Let's cast Darcy. Okay, Darcy is in play. My opponent cracks Misty for Underground Sea. So they have Doomsday and 3 unknown cards. Or they will not go for Doomsday yet, just Hydroblast. Alright. And that's it? No Doomsday? Okay. Now we naturally have Tree Shot and Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt is also sweet. Let's pass a turn. My opponent draws. Basic Island and nothing else, alright? I think my opponent knows what's happening here. Mishra's Bubble for us, so let's play it. And let's see my opponent's next draw. Another Doomsday, alright. But we already knew about my opponent's first Doomsday, so they can have a second Doomsday, that's fine. We drew Looting, Looting is good. Hopefully we'll find another land soon. Dark Ritual for my opponent, and Doomsday. We know that my opponent has another Doomsday in their hand, so let's allow that to happen. So we know that my opponent has Doomsday and another card. Probably nothing that scary. After this Resolve Doomsday, if my opponent just passes the turn, I will cast the Lightning Bolt targeting them. Let's see. Keep in mind that I'm only playing this defensively because I saw my opponent exiling one copy of Thassa's Oracle. So they probably have only one other copy of Thassa's Oracle. And this way we can threaten to deck our opponent with Cephalic Coliseum. Let's see their exiled cards. So let's see how many counter spells again. Daisy and Force of Will. Hydroblast is not useful here. Fluster. Force of Negation, Force of Negation, Force of Will. So I think my opponent might have another counter spell in their hand. They probably have another counter spell in their hand. So they can counter or counter. Let's cast both, targeting them. Okay, down to 5. And now we'll draw. Not a land again. Let's cast Bubble and see my opponent's top deck. Swamp, Switch Rate again. So they probably have a similar pile like we saw in the previous game. We have Boseiju. Boseiju is good, it's a land. Okay, my opponents will not try to combo yet. They have 4 cards remaining in their deck. So draw step for us. Another land is beautiful. Because now we can just draw 2 cards with Faithless Looting here. Maybe we can draw other counter spells. Consent to Memory is excellent. So let's discard Grave-Troll and Loam. And we pass the turn. My opponent draws. Only 3 cards remaining in their deck. Brainstorm is their first spell. 2 cards remaining in their deck. They are casting Duress targeting us, so I'll crack Cephalic Coliseum targeting them. Oops. Sorry guys. So let's force them to draw 3. Yeah, I think my opponent didn't play around that. They were probably just playing around counter spells. So hopefully my opponent will learn something about Cephalic Coliseum today. Yeah, we won. 2-1. We are 3-1. Let's go to our final match. Final round, guys. Our opponent is DolderMS. And we are on the play. Okay, right. In Days We Trust. Let's skip that. We have some redraws here. We need more lands. But we have a way to protect us from something bad. We have a redraw. We have Faithless Looting. So I'll cast Mishra's Bubble. Surveying. Boat. Is boat good? I think no, we need more lands. So let's put it into our graveyard. No response here. And I'll target my opponent here to see their top card. Oh, they are also playing Tempo. Our Tempo is slightly different, but my opponent is also playing Tempo. So we'll draw a card. Life from the Loam. We need green mana. My opponent plays Polluted Delta. Cracks it. Volcanic and Unholy Heat. I will try to counter that because we have nothing else going on and we have so many daisies. And Surveying is good for us to guarantee more lands. We don't want Faithless Looting. Let's see if my opponent wants to counter our days. That's a pretty tough spot for my opponent. Oh, they will counter that. Okay, 2 for 1. My opponent's down to 4 cards in their hand. We will lose our Darcy, but they did a pretty good job to put more cards in our graveyard. Let's draw. Tropical Island. Yeah, that's what we want to see. I will cast a Looting here. Another Darcy for next turn. Beautiful. So let's discard the Loam. And what? If my opponent has Wasteland, I think I don't want my second days anymore. And this will probably suggest to my opponent that I don't have that many counter spells. But next turn, I think I just want to Loam. Another Volcanic for my opponent. And Darcy. Alright. Play the round days. Oh, a second Darcy. Okay. We have Delirium. My opponent doesn't have Delirium yet. Let's draw here. We will Dredge. And I think we'll just get some lands, right? I can crack Misty because we don't have our second Tropical. So... But this would be so bad because at the same time, we have only Hedge Maze there. So it's a pretty bad Loam. So let's wait a little bit to cast Loam. I'll play Misty and Darcy. This will be a 3-3. We have Days, and this is just probably a basic land or anything else. Let's see if my opponent can remove our Darcy. Ponder, alright. Opponent's Darcy's will probably get bigger this turn. Oh no, my opponent kept on top. This will be the 3rd card type. We might counter my opponent's second spell this turn. And my opponent chose to shuffle after that. Okay, they have a Wasteland. We have more lands, that's not a problem. So my opponent can't attack. They are trying to control our lands, but we have more lands. I don't even think we need to crack that land. Let's just draw here. Okay, another land. So let's crack Misty for a Volcanic Island. Let's play Tropical. And let's cast Life from the Loam. I think I want my second Darcy here. This might be good. Okay, we have lands for days and our Darcy attacks. Maybe my opponent's top card was Wasteland. We have 1 days here. We can use it at any moment. Brainstorm from my opponents. Now their Darcies will probably get bigger. Not yet. They need a creature in their graveyard or an artifact. Another land from my opponent. Darcies are still small. We will draw our second Darcy here. And let's attack first. Let's do the right thing. Okay, my opponent's down to 12. I'll play my second Darcy here. Okay, a movement from my opponent's side. A daze. Okay, my opponent just wants to trigger their own Darcies. So I'll definitely pay for this daze. I will pay for it. Darcy's in play. My opponent's Darcies are still small. Let's play Hitch Maze. What's on top? Conflagrate. Beautiful. Let's put that into my graveyard. And now we are threatening lethal next turn. My opponent need to have something. Darcy's plus Conflagrate are lethal. Volcanic Island from my opponent. And my opponent conceded. Yeah. Who is the best tempo deck here? At least this game was our deck. Now again, I don't have any tools, any specific tools to deal with tempo. We could exchange Force of Will for Leyline of the Void, but I will just submit the deck back. Let's admit to ourselves that we don't have a good sideboard for this meta. This was just something that I put together quickly with the cards that I had. But yeah, this league so far, right? This is our last matchup, and we didn't face many combo decks, but many tempo decks. So, okay, I'll keep this. My opponent is mulliganing. We have lands, we have Wasteland, we have Darcy and Brainstorm. Let's see. Volcanic Island from my opponent, and Ponder. I'll Wasteland that. Oh, my opponent didn't see Wasteland yet, right? This on game 1 we had no Wastelands. Alright, we will draw. My opponent didn't shuffle. Let's destroy that land. And now it's my opponent's turn again. Polluted Delta from my opponent, and Bubble. They will draw an extra card now. They know our top card. Okay, they saw our Golgar Grave-Troll. They are probably pretty confused here. I don't think I want to expose my Darcy without anything else to do, so I'll just play my Hitch Maze here. Conflagrate, let's put that into our graveyard, and let's pass the turn. Thundering Falls for my opponent. And now they draw Basic Island. What is that? Are they trying to cast Murktide? No, Cori still cutter, alright. Just a Cori, and now is our draw step. Cephalic Coliseum. So let's grab Volcanic Island here to cast our Darcy. And our Brainstorm. My opponent will probably counter that, but if they counter that, it's actually pretty fine. Daze. Let's keep Daze on top. Yeah, now my opponent will counter because we kept one card on top, of course. So that's fine. We have 3 card types in our graveyard. My opponent has a turn to attack us. We have nothing going on. Oh, nothing? Just replaying the island and casting Brainstorm. So my opponent has had Cori, but they also have a defensive hand. Mishra's Bubble. Okay, my opponent will create a token after the combat, so that's fine. And now it's our turn. Our Darcy is alive. We draw our Daze. Let's play a land and crack the land. I'll grab my Volcanic Island. And I will cast Conflagrate here, destroying this Monk token. Just in case, I'll try to deal 3 damage on them. I don't want to deal damage to my opponents, that's fine. And that's it. I'll pay 2 red mana and discard you, and you. I want to trigger Darcy to have a Surveil here. I think the Surveil is pretty important. And having our Dredgers there will help us to get life from below. Tamio on top. We can flip Tamio immediately with this Cephalic Coliseum, but my opponent has ways to attack Tamio. Unless... Okay, let's... If I put this Tamio in our graveyard, Darcy will turn into a 3-3. Considering that my opponent has a Cori in play, I don't think Tamio is a strong play anymore. So let's put it into our graveyard. My opponent will cast Brainstorm, so the Monk token will be live again. We actually have only 3 cards in our graveyard now because Conflagrate was our only sorcery. This is something that we can think in the future. Okay, my opponent is trying to counter our Conflagrate. So the Monk token will leave. We still have our Daze here. Let's pass a turn. Bubble draws an extra card for my opponent. Darcy for my opponent. They have Delirium. Wasteland, okay. And nothing else? Okay, they will destroy the maze and attack. I will not block. And let's dredge. Okay, Darcy is a 3-3. Last turn, when I had the opportunity to cast Daze, I couldn't because I did press F6 when I shouldn't. And then I tried to get back on time, but I couldn't. So this was a misplay with my keyboard. We need to pay attention here and not hurry ourselves. So I will play Cephalic Coliseum here. And I'll crack it just as a way to draw more cards. I'll not dredge here. So draw, draw, draw. Okay, I'll discard Grave-Troll, Daze, and looting. Let's cast Temio. And now let's attack with Darcy. The thing is, we can flip Temio easily next turn, unless my opponent has another Wasteland. But we'll probably lose this now. I'm already having some ideas for the future if you want to play with this brew again. Not sure if this will be good enough to be... Oh, green mana, that's good. To be incredibly competitive, but maybe. So let's attack first. I want to flip Temio this turn. So I'll play my Boseiju. We could destroy Cori Cutter here, but we are already so behind that our best bet here is just flipping Temio and hoping that my opponent doesn't have that many spells there. We don't want that land. We draw. We want to flip Temio. Lightning Bolt is pretty sweet. Let's discard our 2 lands. And now Temio goes up. And we pass a turn. Next turn we can cast Loam plus Bolt plus activating Wasteland. 2 cards on my opponent's hand. One of them is Brainstorm. Good one. My opponent probably will find another spell to cast this turn. And then they will have an extra Monk token. I would love to find my other Conflagrate, but I'm not sure if we'll have time to do that. Maybe Wastelands are not that good anymore. Maybe what we need to do is just casting giant Grave-Trolls 2 turns from now. They at least can block Monk tokens profitably. But again, I'm not sure if we have the time. Yeah, my opponent will kill Darcy and kill Temio this turn. So everyone is attacking. My opponent is ignoring Temio. Alright, but they have only 1 card in their hand. Maybe they have the win next turn. So let's draw. We don't have Loam yet. Let's try to have a natural draw here. Bubble is a draw. We could get something with Temio here, but we don't have anything that good, right? So let's draw a card. I will have a natural draw again. Daze. Now I'll cast a bubble. Let's see my opponent's top card. Just a land, alright. So they can't cast 2 spells in the next turn, probably, unless they already have a Brainstorm or Ponder in their hand. But in that case, they will probably cast it, right? Because so Temio will go up. They had prowess creatures, so they would have lethal in the previous turn. Let's take this opportunity to kill Darcy. My opponent has a Daze. Alright. So they can Surveil here, so that land will be milled. I can't pay for these days. So it's okay, guys. We lost. We lost game 2. Let's go to game 3. I'm considering something good that we can do with this brew, but I will talk a little bit about it when we finish this match. Let's focus here first. So against my opponent being on the play. On round 2 of this league, we didn't do anything different. We could risk Leyline here instead of Force of Will. I think this time maybe we should try that since we are playing Leylines, right? They are definitely better than trying to counter my opponents, especially because they will have Pyroblast against us. But Daze is still good, especially on the play. So this time let's try Leyline of the Void. Let's submit. We could also try Meltdown. So last game, no red mana. This would be interesting with red mana, but let's mulligan. And only Cephalic Coliseum as our source of mana here. This is so risky. This is a good hand if we find mana with Brainstorm plus Bubble. Alright, let's go to 5. Ooh, Leyline. Okay, let's keep that. We'll keep that. We'll put Leyline and Grave-Troll. It's too soon to Grave-Troll, unfortunately. We need more lands here, so done. And I'll put Leyline in play. And I'll start with Scalding Tarn. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have a Wasteland. Volcanic Island and Darcy. Alright, our Darcy's will be superior this game, so unless my opponent can destroy Darcy on turn 1, this will be a huge advantage for us. Misty for my opponent, cracking it. Basic Island, alright. And Delver. So our Darcy is alive. We'll have a natural draw here. Daze. Now we'll try Brainstorm. Darcy triggers. We definitely want to put Grave-Troll into our graveyard, but we don't want to dredge yet. We need more lands. My opponent tried to counter with Force of Will. We'll try to counter it back with Daze. Darcy triggers again. We don't want loot. Looting is good, but let's put it into our graveyard. It's a sorcery. No response. Okay, it seems that our Brainstorm will resolve. Let's draw 3 cards. Draw. Loam is good. Wasteland is pretty good. And Leyline. So we can put Leyline and Loam. Yeah, we can put Leyline and Loam there. And then we can dredge next turn on purpose just to mill those 2 and 4 more. And then we need to draw something else again. Yeah, let's put Leyline and Loam on top. I will replay my Volcanic Island here. And let's attack with our 3/3. That would be even better if we had another blue mana on top, because we could cast a Murktide Regent next turn. So let's attack with our 3/3. And now it's time to Delver. Flip or not flip? That's the question. Not flip. Scalding Tarn from my opponent. Volcanic. Lightning Bolt on Darcy. Alright. And Delver attacks. So now we'll dredge here, just to put those unwanted cards in our graveyard. But we don't have a threat now. Let's just destroy that volcanic and pass a turn. Now we naturally need to top deck lands. Okay, Delver flipped to Daze. That's important. Misty Rainforest for my opponent, and the clock is ticking. Come on, deck. Oh, there's more. Another volcanic for my opponent. And Darcy, okay. Darcy will be always a 1-1, but my opponent's last card is a Daze. Let's draw. Looting. Oh, my opponent will just counter that, right? And this will help them. But I don't think we have a choice. Let's start with this looting. Yeah, Daze to my opponent. No response. Oh, they kept the card on top, so it didn't matter at all. Nope. Let's pass a turn. Volcanic Island for my opponent. And they attack us dealing 4 damage. They have 1 good card on top. Something they wanted. Just a Cori. Okay. This Cori will be not that great if my opponent is Hellbent. But it will at least put a +1/+1 to buff one of my opponent's creatures. Come on, draw. Land. Great. So now we can grab a Hedge Maze and then Life from the Lawn. Hopefully my opponent will not counter that. But I think the best thing is just to cast Murktide here instead of grabbing Hedge Maze, right? So yeah, let's get Tropical Island. My opponent is Hellbent. And we'll cast a giant Murktide. I don't want this. Brainstorm, looting, and 1 lawn. It's an 8/8 flying. My opponent's Darcy is not attacking this turn, probably. He doesn't need to attack because of our Leyline of the Void. So no attacks for my opponent, great. And we will dredge here, dredge 3. And Murktide will get bigger. It's a 9/9 now. This is a great synergy. Let's grab some lands back, 2 Wastelands and a Flooded Strand. And let's target Volcanic Island with that Wasteland. Oh, my opponent is conceding? Really? My opponent said GG's there. Let's see if they are conceding for real. GG's. I'll say GG's back. Is that possible? We did a 4-1 with this deck. Let's see. My opponent is not conceding. My opponent gave me the GG's, but okay, my opponent conceded. Woo! I'm so happy, guys. This was almost a trophy with a completely crazy brew between Tempo and Dredge. We did a 4-1 with a crazy brew. So this was a great result. Let's talk a little bit about our deck in our Grave Thoughts. That's it, guys. I had so much fun playing this new brew. And of course, this is not ready yet. This was just a first attempt to get that challenge that I saw on Twitter and try to build something around that. What we knew before this league is that Tempo cards are obviously pretty good. But I believe this is the first time, at least in Legacy, that Dredge deck, at least with Dredge cards and Grave-Troll and Wasteland, were played in the same deck. And the results were pretty good. But let's talk a little bit about what we discovered here. Well, Tempo cards are great. Tamio is excellent. Darcy is pretty good. We had some opportunities to trigger Darcy finding a Dredger or something good. But since this is not a traditional Dredge deck, Dredge is just an engine to fill your graveyard faster. Maybe we don't need to be so much dredgy here. I don't think we need 4 copies of Grave-Troll here to make this work. Life from the Loam was pretty good. It was awesome in this build. And it almost made me think that Tempo players should consider Rogue Tempo decks again, but with 4 copies of Life from the Loam. Because getting utility lands since you are filling your graveyard with Darcy to play Murktides. So maybe you could just test this without Grave-Troll, but with 4 copies of Life from the Loam and 3 copies of Murktide Region, the 4th Tamio. I don't know, maybe something like this. This could be just a Tempo deck with a Life from the Loam, with huge success. The idea of filling your graveyard faster with Grave-Troll and maybe hard-casting Grave-Trolls, giant Grave-Trolls to kill your opponent, actually worked on our first match here against Show and Tell. But this was never useful again. We never had the opportunity to repeat that. So maybe this was just a cute idea. But yeah, maybe just Loaming Wastelands and Boseiju and Cephalic Coliseum and just other lands. This was pretty sweet. And if we do that, we can even include the extra land here. We can play with this list with 19 lands or even maybe 20 lands. Faithless Looting was pretty good to flip Tamio. It is actually pretty... I think considering that we want to discard Conflagrate, and Conflagrate we had wins with Conflagrate here, 2 or 3 I believe. There were 2 moments where my opponent saw Conflagrate, so they will lose the game in the next turn, so they concede the game. And we actually did cast Conflagrate sometimes here in this league. So the idea that we can threaten lethal damage with creatures, my opponent answers the creatures, and then we are just filling our graveyard faster to find a giant Conflagrate to cast a giant Conflagrate in. kill our opponent is pretty sweet. However, if we choose to not play 4 Grave-Trolls, we'll probably have some hard moments to find both conflagrates. So something that good problems to think about, right? Something that we need to keep in mind if you want to try this again in the future. But 4-1, almost a 5-0. We lost to our great opponent on round 2, but it was probably a loss due to my own mistakes because I was still new playing my own deck. I felt like we could have won that match with just a little bit more experience with the deck. I needed to think too much, and at the end I was just clicking to not lose on time, and we ended losing on time. And of course our sideboard, this is not a good sideboard. I tried to include some generic cards here that could be good against some decks, some opponents, but I believe our sideboard was just slightly good against Doomsday, and Leyline with Void actually did some heavy lifting here in our last matchup, but we could probably win with other cards instead of Leyline here. Maybe just including Surgicals is better than Leyline of the Void, of course, especially because Surgical is good to trigger Darcy. Temio can get Surgical back, so of course, as a Tempo deck, probably Leyline of the Void is not good. I am not saying that Tempo decks should play Leyline, not at all, but since at the moment I was building this, I couldn't rent any more cards, and I just wanted to start the league already. I just included 4 Leylines here. And if we did a 4-1 without experience, this was my first Tempo league, my first Legacy League playing Tempo in my whole life, and we had this great result here for 1. I believe we could do even better with some tweaks here, trying to get this better. Now let me know your thoughts. Do you think we just got a beginner's luck with this deck? This is just a bad Tempo deck, or maybe there's something here that we should investigate a little more, a bit more. Do you think Conflagrate has space to shine in Legacy, or this is just too weak to threaten wins in Legacy? What do you think? Brainstorm and Faithless Looting in a Tempo deck, not a Dredge deck, because we could play this in a traditional Dredge build, but this wasn't the case. Lightning Bolt was pretty sweet. I almost forgot to tell you about this, because playing this league, since we had 4 bolts in our deck, of course, I was not afraid of just letting Darcy resolve or Devil of Secrets. If any opponent would have something like Elvish Reclaimer, we always have the opportunity to just destroy a creature on turn 2. That's pretty much it. If you're a Tempo player, let me know your thoughts here with your perspective as a Tempo player, and if you are a Dredge player, or if you play both decks, please let me know what you think about this. Of course, this started just as a joke that I saw on Twitter, as I told you here at the intro. But let's put here again the post I post here. I'll answer now that we created a new deck just with those 20-something cards. As usual, click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below. And in our next video, we'll get back to the most competitive Dredge decks in Legacy. And sooner, Vintage. See you soon. Bye.